The movie begins with some sightseeing down by the beach, boy! The movie begins with footage shot by archaeology professor Scarlett Marlowe.
The game begins in familiar territory. Cabin in the woods, a lone girl, and a machete-wielding mystery man. But
the movie begins with a production car that got me pumped as a kid, I tell you what! The movie begins in 1993, the year of Jurassic Park. Yep. The movie begins with a recap of the original, first in voiceover.
Wait a minute. Who am I here?
And then full previously on Lost mode. The movie begins at a nice-ass cabin. Its owners aren't there though. It's being rented to a group of friends for a Juneteenth celebration/reunion. The movie begins in the Bering Sea, where the boat is doing some shallow sea fishing. That is, until a motherfucking Mosasaurus pops out the water and chows down. Wow, this is actually awesome. A dinosaur just caused to capsize. The movie begins with some bad voiceover.
Everyone always said I'd end up this way.
Oof, voice acting is a skill. The movie begins with a camping couple lounging by the lake. They've got guitars and bug zappers and everything. They're having fun. The movie begins with a dinosaur, T-Rex to be exact, with the lyrics to Bang a Gong, Get It On. The movie begins where Indiana Jones belongs, in a museum. The movie begins with Blue Moon by Bobby Vinton playing over the moors. That just means a big old tract of land without much on it. Good vocab word.
the game begins with our sweepy little player character, Harry Mason, waking up all alone in the fog-filled streets of Silent Hill. But
the movie begins by describing the legendary scroll of thought. What? It's 19. The movie begins with a production logo. Wait, no, that's an establishing shot? Oh shit, we in ancient Egypt, motherfuckers! The movie begins with some train tracks. Wonder if those will come into play later.
the game begins with a tape title, which is how the game separates each level.
The movie begins at a grocery store. You know the place. Shopping carts, cereal. The kill count began in 2017 with the Friday the 13th series, the first video being released on April 7th.
The game begins with an opening credit sequence. Oh, look, it's Laura and Max, two camp counselors headed to Hackett's Quarry, the summer camp where they work.
The movie begins talking about music that transcends time, made by people from all over the world. In ancient Ireland, they were called Fili. Among the Choctaw, they were firekeepers. And in West Africa,
they're called griots.
Oh, giving us a little taste of that humdinger so early. Thank you very much, title card. The movie begins with the Outjaw's guiding edict. Go find badasses and fuck them up, son. It's like their every day is the first day in prison, and the only way to become a title phrase.
The game begins with a phone call from Eugene, an old friend of our player character, known only as the Archivist, a monster hunting museum owner. Eugene.
The season begins with morning ASMR and a getting ready video by Martin Brenner. Wait, didn't that guy maybe die in season 1? Oh, okay, this is 1979, about 4 years before the events of season 1.
The game begins when we press start.
Yeah, let's hear that sweet, sweet Resident Evil 2.
Where'd it go? It begins with a little girl narrating a story that happened 2 years ago. One day in her town of Maybrook, Pennsylvania, third grade teacher Justine Gandy found her classroom totally empty.
Well, not totally.
Love how the movie begins with a quiet prayer. A young Ellen, overcome with loneliness and desperate for company, calls out to any and all forces that might be listening. A movie begins with a picture-perfect proposal. It's on Valentine's Day and scored by a syrupy needle drop of Amazed by Lone Star, the official middle school slow dance song of the 2000s. Movie begins with an ending, specifically the ending of Paul Sheldon's new book, Untitled, by Paul Sheldon. The movie begins in a castle on a dark and stormy night. The movie begins with a prelude in 1857 at the edge of the world. Danish